who is now my really good friend, David Dang Vu. He is going to show everyone how he's made over $250,000 from a freaking Udemy course. And if you guys don't know Udemy, it's courses that sell on sale sometimes for like 15 bucks or something. And 99.9% of the courses on there, are made by just, random people that maybe have never done anything before. But there are some legitimate people out there that have created amazing courses. And if you guys have a legitimate skill that you guys can teach, this isn't just an easy-to-use platform where you can make a couple $100 a month, like I do with my Udemy courses, but you can actually make a six-figure online income from this. David Dang Vu, please come up.
Testing. Thank you, Johnny. Ramble on. Hold on 1 second, guys. Okay. Before I begin, I definitely want to take this time to give credit where credit is due, because we're all very lucky, you see. We show up at this great event, the venue's all beautiful, the sound, the lights, everything's already done for us, right? The sales, the tickets, everything's already done. But coming from prior experience running events like this for years, for months on end, it's a lot of work behind the scenes, you guys. And I'm sure these guys have been working full time on this for the last few weeks, and it's because they're so passionate about giving back to the digital nomad community. So I definitely want to recognize Johnny, Cody, the staff, and the rest of the volunteers. So let's give these guys a huge round of applause. Thank you guys for putting this together, seriously. Awesome. How's everyone doing? What a great looking crowd. Look at you guys. Seriously, you guys all look so positive and so happy. It's because we're all digital nomads, right? That's right. But seriously, my name is David Dang Vu, and with the whole entire world as your playground, you chose to sit in a room full of people on a Saturday morning to listen to this fast-talking, can't see his eyes when he smiles, Asian guy talk. I will try not to disappoint. But it's seriously a huge pleasure and honor to be here, you guys. And my goal is to provide some inspiration and to provide as much value as I can from my knowledge of being an entrepreneur and creating kick-ass courses that sell online and leveling up for 2017. Before we begin, though, I think it's really important that you understand the journey. There's one core concept that I want to help you guys take away, but before I give that to you, I want to take you back and really understand where I came from and what I've been through to shape who I am today. This picture that you see here is a young lady, a beautiful young lady, and a hardworking man from Vietnam. And they came from extremely poor villages. They were refugees from the Vietnam War, and they escaped their country on a boat. And it's a horrific story filled with bombs and pirates and rape, and I'll spare you all the details, but they eventually found asylum in the United States of America. What I learned from their story when I hear it, when they share it with me, is survival mode, right? And this applies in life, and this applies in business. You see, when it becomes this survival mode, you got to do what it takes to survive, right? You got to do what it takes. When it comes to business, when you're starting out a brand new business, the first 3 months to the first 3 years, you have to do what it takes to survive your business, because if you don't survive, your business dies. So that's what I learned when I hear this story. When they came here to America, they had no money, no English, no friends, no family. They had to figure everything out from scratch. And I'm so proud to call them my mom and dad. I get teary-eyed when I think about the things that they've been through. September 7th, 1983, this beautiful spectacle of a baby with a funny-shaped head is born. Insert baby photo now. I know, cute, right? I know what you're all thinking, what happened? But that's me if you haven't caught on. I still kept the hair if you didn't notice, right? Well, we grew up, we were poor in America. My parents did their best. I remember my early childhood, we would have a one-bedroom studio apartment. It was me, my mom, and dad, and a family of 4 other people. So imagine sharing one bathroom with 7 other people. It's no fun. But the crazy thing is, looking back, I didn't know what poor was. This was all normal to me, right? But it wasn't until I started going to school Because this is when you learn to compare and you make friends, right? And I remember, going to school as a young kid and seeing little Johnny, sorry, not Johnny FD, but little Joey, right? Little Joey with the brand new sneakers, I see little Andrew with the brand new jacket. I see little Bobby bragging about all the cool Nintendo games that he got, right? And I remember coming home one day and going to my mom and be like, Mom, why can't I have new clothes? I was wearing raggedy old clothes that were hand-me-downs 3 days a week, right? I was like, Mom, why can't I have new sneakers or new clothes, or why can't I have video games? And my mom looked at me. I remember so vividly, you guys. She looked at me straight in the eyes, and she had tears. Like she was just so disappointed, and she looked at me and she said, Come got thing. And what that means is we don't have money for that. So that was my upbringing, And I'll share that with you guys to be, it's all sappy, look at me, I'm just an example of millions of stories. I'm pretty sure some of you can relate. I mean, have any of you guys relate being broke or having your back against the wall? Anyone out there ever been in that situation, right? I mean, it's absolutely no fun, But it was okay. It was totally okay for me growing up. My childhood, from 5 to 10 years old, I literally had no life outside of school and homework. We would come home, and we owned 2 sewing machines. My parents worked at home 7 days a week, from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. I witnessed this every single day. And we basically ran a work-at-home sweatshop. And they were making pants and dresses for 10 cents a pop. And they were just sewing clothes away. And I'd come home from school after I finished my homework. I would just spend time and fold clothes and help them out. And that was my childhood. I didn't get to play. I didn't get to hang out with my friends. I just worked. But what I learned from this was the value of hard work. Because nothing in life comes easy, right, guys? The value of hard work trumps anything that you do out there. So when you put in the work, the sweat equity, you will get the results. And from that, my friends, a few years later, my parents bought their first home, they bought their first car, I was able to get new clothes and new video games, so life got better eventually. But the value of hard work is something that I learned and admire so much from my parents. My biggest gift that I got from my mom is the entrepreneurial spirit. As I got older in my teenage years, my mom kept instilling in me, said, David, when you grow up and you get older, you're so blessed to live in America and learn the language of English, right? When you grow older, make sure you start your own business. Don't be like mom and dad. Don't work a job for someone else, because typically business owners make more money and have a better lifestyle. She just kept telling me over and over, you got to start a business, David. You got to have a business. You got to own a company. So growing up, I just had that hustle mentality. My mom was the same way. When she was younger, she sold everything that she could. So when I got older, I remember, in high school, I'd go to the 99-cent store, buy those 8-pack of pens, and then go to school and flip them to my friends for $1 a piece. I flipped everything in high school, from pens and pencils, erasers, highlighters, video games, shoes, drugs. I got into that. That wasn't cool, but that was don't judge me, right? But that was a phase of my life. Hung out with the wrong crowd, I know. But I gained that entrepreneurial spirit from my mom, and I'm so thankful for that. So growing up, I always thought, am I cursed? What is wrong with us? Why are we so broke and so poor? But later in life, I learned that was the biggest blessing in my life, is going through that situation. You see, if you want to level up for 2017, I get asked this question so many times by so many people all around the world on Facebook, on Instagram, on emails, what is the one thing that has helped you become successful? And I think, honestly, this is the thing that has given me that huge advantage and that edge over a lot of other people, And this is the one thing that I want to share with you and hope that you either have it or that you adopt it. And that's the hungry immigrant mentality. You got to have the hungry immigrant mentality. You cannot settle for less. And this one thing, the struggle that our family went through, because when I think about my parents, right? You guys, we have it so damn easy. We get to sit on a beach, open up a rectangular screen, punch in a bunch of keys and numbers, and we make money. Seriously, right? My life and all the things that I go through will never, ever be as hard as what my parents went through. So I want you to think about that for a second, Think about your parents. Think about your great-grandparents, where they came from. And that's what drives the shit out of me when I remember that story, even though, you guys see me, if you guys follow my stuff online, I'm having a lot of fun, for months on end. I'm traveling. I'm just having the time of my life. But when I go home and I work, I think about my parents, and I think about what they went through, and I can turn this switch on at any single time. And this is what has given me the edge over, my entrepreneurship career, is having this hungry immigrant mentality. So if there's one thing that I want you guys to take away, is think about that hungry immigrant mentality. And I love being here in Thailand. Like, I see it everywhere. Have any of you guys been to the Sunday night market in Chiang Mai, by show of hands? Okay, cool, so most of you. But if you haven't gone, make sure you check that out. It is the coolest thing that I absolutely admire about the Thai people. And when you walk around the market, you can see it on the streets, all the street vendors and all the people selling stuff. These guys are all entrepreneurs. They're all hustling. They're all selling. They're all trying to figure it out and make money. I admire and respect the Thai people for that. Like, it is so rare to see someone. I don't think I've seen anyone begging for money here in Thailand. Not like at home in the United States of America, where people are entitled and want a handout and beg for money. You don't see that here in Thailand. I admire and respect that. So one thing I want to share is, take this away. Have that hungry immigrant mentality. You got to do what it takes to survive. So you got to own it, or you got to adopt it. So here's my kind of entrepreneurship career in a nutshell. In 2001, I started my first business selling internet services. That failed and flopped. In 2004, I was a street pharmacist. Those of you kind of know what that means. I also failed and flopped. I'm keeping it raw and real. I have nothing to hide, right? I was young, naive, don't judge me, okay? 2007, I started a legal insurance business, trying to sell legal insurance. What the heck is that, right? That failed and flopped. In 2008, you guys remember those power bands? They're supposed to make you jump higher and run faster. That was a total gimmick. I failed and flopped in that too. In 2009, I worked with a buddy of mine, and we started a drop shipping business. This is kind of pre-Shopify days. Shopify was around, but it wasn't popular. We built everything from scratch on Drupal. It was a nightmare. It was insane. But that business actually peaked at about $8 million in sales a year. So that was my first huge success, and that was back in 2009. In 2011, I started a business buying and reselling gift cards. That also was a success. That turned and capped at about a $3 million a year business. In 2014, I got into e-dropshipping, like Johnny said. That was also a success. Just in the last 2 years alone, we've sold over $1 million in products. And in 2015, my favorite business, and why I came here to talk to you guys about today, is online courses. And in the last 2 years, it's generated a lot of money because Udemy takes a portion of what you make. But I personally earned about $250,000 from Udemy in the last 2 years, and that course has probably sold double, even triple that, because they pay out money to their affiliates, and they also keep a cut too. So that course has definitely generated a lot of income. So that's what I came to talk to you guys about today, is creating kick-ass courses that sell. And it might not just be e-courses, it could be e-books as well. Digital products, this falls in the same realm as that. The first two questions I always get from people is, can I do this? Do I have the time to do this? My first response is, yes, you can. 1,000%. I believe with every fiber in my being that every single one of you harness the knowledge and the energy to create $1 million course. Guaranteed. You just have to think about what to create and just go out there, take action, and create it. You can either you're either an expert in your field. If you're not, you can become an expert. Here's a great story. And actually, the reason why I started selling courses on Udemy is Nick Walter. Google him, look him up. But this guy, I remember reading about him on the Business Insider magazine. And he was 23 years old, and he was making about $60,000 a month selling courses online. You see, what happened was I was having success doing e-drop shipping, and I was sharing it on social media, and a lot of friends and family and acquaintances were contacting me saying, David, can you please mentor me? Can you please show me? Can you teach me how to do it? And I didn't want to get into the one-on-one coaching business because that would just take too much of my time. So my initial thought process was, I want to create an online course. But then I thought about, oh man, now I got to build a website, I got to hire a team, I got to create a membership website, do this, do that. There's a lot of work to do. And then when I found out about Nick Walter, he was making $60,000 a month selling a course on how to build a freaking iPhone app. That's actually the title of the course, How to Build a Freaking iPhone App. And I love his story because he was not an expert in this field. You see, at that time, Swift, the language of Swift had came out for the iOS, and he self-taught himself how to create iPhone apps through Swift. And while he was doing it, he was recording videos of him doing it. Like, oh, I just learned how to do this, and you press a button, and it makes a sound. And so he was just making all these videos of himself, learning the process. After a couple months, he basically created the first online course. So he was the first, and he was the best, right? Those are the two keys to making a kick-ass course. He later started selling it on Udemy.com. This is when I found out about Udemy. And I said, wait a minute, what is Udemy? It's a platform where any one of us can go on there, sign up to become an instructor, and upload videos, and everything's already done for you. And you can leverage Udemy's database of students and their marketing power and all the money that they have. So it's incredible. So that's why I started selling Udemy, is because of Nick Walter's story. So why do you want to create an online course? My favorite part to this answer, it's honestly the most rewarding thing that I have ever done. It's basically my way of giving back to the community, and every single day I receive emails and messages from people that write to me and say, wow, David, your course was amazing. This has changed my life. Thank you so much for sharing it. And that's the reason why I love creating online courses. It's absolutely rewarding. The monetary benefits, of course, the residual income is amazing, and it can be a business that's 80 to 99% passive depending on how you want to operate it. It also allows you to build an audience of loyal customers. The students that I have in my course are just dying and waiting until I launch the next course. Like any of you are a fan of a certain author or a certain book, it doesn't matter what their next book is going to be about. You usually go buy that book just because you're a fan of that author, right? So it allows you to build an audience. And the great thing about courses is there's a higher barrier of entry, and it's not easily duplicatable. So it's really hard for someone to go in there and kind of rip off what you're doing and rip off your course. So that's why I love creating these courses. And when I created my first eBay course, I was actually not even the first one. There was probably 60 or 70 courses out there similar to mine. But what I did was, and I'll show you a little bit later, was become the best. And I'll show you that in a second. So how to create an online course. Here are the basics. Content over quality. Content is king, you guys. A lot of people always stress and worry about, oh, I got to have the right camera, or oh, I got to have the right microphone, or have the right lights to create my course. No, you don't. There are hundreds of courses out there with crappy pixelated video image from like an iPhone 3, right, with crappy audio and a guy on a whiteboard, and those courses are making millions of dollars. It's all about the content, not about the quality. But what I have noticed in the online course education industry is that quality is now becoming a very close second. I'll give you an example. If you have a great course with great content, but your quality is not that good, you'll make a ton of money. But if someone else, a competitor of yours, has the same equal level of content, but their quality is better, they're going to make more money than you, right? Or vice versa, if you have a competitor that doesn't have great content, but their quality is better, you're still going to make more because content is king. So always remember that content is everything when you're creating the courses. If you are creating your course and you're on a shoestring budget, just use that money, let's say $500, just buy the best audio, video, and light equipment if you can. If you're bootstrapping, just use your phone, just use a headset, and just use regular lights in your room. I mean, tons of people are doing it and still doing really well. Rough draft your curriculum. I remember when I thought about creating my first course, it's a very daunting task. Like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? There's so much I want to talk about, right? The best thing that you can do is just rough draft your curriculum. Just write everything down on a sheet of paper that you want to talk about. Write it all down. Worry about the organization later. So rough draft your curriculum and just start. Decide what kind of video style you want to do. Do you want to do just a regular screencast? Do you want to do where it's like a talking head kind of video? Decide what you do and then practice. Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. So just practice and get it done. Now, should you create a course on Udemy or should you create your own personal website? Now, obviously, I'm a big fan of Udemy. They've treated me very well and paid me very, very well. So I'm going to talk about definitely creating your course on Udemy. But I would also encourage you to create your own personal website and course as well, so that way you can market it and earn more money. But again, you want to use Udemy so that way you can leverage their customers, their database, and their branding power. And the 3 words that I want to leave you with is just start recording. Because a lot of times you're just, I don't know if I can do it, I'm not sure, I have this great course, and I see so many instructors fail to get started. Just start recording. Just get in front of the camera and record. That's all you have to do. And the rest will follow through. So here's my personal winning playbook. This is the exact strategy that I've used. I've launched 5 different online courses on Udemy, and 3 of them are top sellers. The eBay one is between number 1 and number 2 as far as business courses. There's thousands of courses on Udemy in the business category, but the eBay one is number 1, and the other 2 that I have is like number 5 and number 7 when you search on Udemy. So this is exactly what I do to win on Udemy. And you can apply this thing for other digital products. I know a lot of people doing Amazon FBA use a similar model to launch their product. But here's an interesting thing. Learn why most instructors fail and don't do that. Because I talk to tons of people that are instructors on Udemy or create online courses, and I hear the same thing over and over. Udemy doesn't work. You don't make any money. They sell your courses for like next to nothing. I never made any money on Udemy, or I made like $100 last month, right? And I noticed a common theme that they do. And what they normally do is they spend all this time, all this money creating their course, right? And then they upload it on Udemy, and then they sit and wait. Why do you think they failed? Zero marketing. They relied too much on Udemy, right? That's not what you want to do. See, coming from personal experience, actually my first course that I created on Udemy was a huge flop. I did the exact same thing. I created the course. It was the course on how to buy and resell gift cards. I thought it was going to make a ton of money because it was the first and it was the best, right? When I launched it, made next to nothing. And I learned the wrong strategy as well. I learned from other top instructors and actually learned later that they were sabotaging my success. They told me that in order to become successful with your first product launch, you want to give your courses away for free. That's a huge no-no, because what happened for me was I gave the course away for free to like the first 200 students, thinking that that would, improve my student ratio and make my course look good to the other students that would pay, right? That was a big no-no, because what happened was that destroyed my course analytics on the Udemy website. What happened was 99% of those students that signed up for the course for free didn't even go through the course. So now what Udemy sees is, oh wow, this guy launched a course, a bunch of people enrolled in the course, but 99% of those students never even watched the first lecture. So it makes the course analytics look really, really poor. I didn't learn that until later on. Right? So you definitely, my strategy is you never, ever, ever give your course away for free. You always want to treat it as a paid course. So my second course that I launched was the eBay one. This was the one that became a huge success. And what I did was something a little different. I created the course. I didn't give up. I created the course. But before I launched it on Udemy, I built a list. I built a list from my audience that were really interested in learning about my course. And I just had them subscribe with their email. And I didn't build a huge list. It was like it was a list of like 100 people. And it took me like 6 weeks to gather this list. See, it wasn't the quantity, it was the quality that mattered, okay? So in 6 weeks, I created this course. I had a list of 100 people, right? And when I launched the course, I gave out a promo, an early bird special. I said, hey guys, I know you guys really appreciated me creating this course. I know you've been waiting for it. Here's an early bird special. Sign up for the course. The coupon's going to expire in the next 40 hours. And what happened was 70 out of the 100 people signed up for that course in 48 hours. And I was selling the course at about $200, so it made me $15,000 in the first 2 days. So watch this. Udemy analytics, right? They see my course. They go, whoa, this guy just launched a brand new course. 70 students signed up and paid, X amount of dollars. And what do you think the percentage of the students that actually went through the course that paid that money? About 95% of the students that paid went through the course within the first 2 weeks. So the analytics for that course looks extremely strong. And what happened was that course became a new and noteworthy course on their main landing page, and the rest is history. It just kept selling over and over. Udemy always features that course as one of the top business courses, and that's what has really made me a success, was I took control of my action and my success. I didn't allow Udemy to do it for me. I initially took that action. So if you're going to create a course, don't wait around on Udemy. Don't wait around on anyone else. Take your own action and create your own success story with it. It's always easier to grow fast than grow slow. That was the biggest takeaway that I learned creating my first 2 courses. If you just sit around and do nothing, you're going to grow very, very slow. But if you just take that extra time and grow fast, your results will be 10 times better. The first 30 days of sales is everything. So you want to capture as many personal sales on Udemy as you can. Because typically Udemy will match what you do 2x or 3x the very next month. So if you generate $10,000 in sales, Udemy will help you generate double or triple that in the next couple of months. So that's a huge tip, is to make sure that you generate your own sales. Oh, did I do something wrong? All right, guys, so here's my final thoughts. I share my... What's up, Johnny? So real quick, my talk was a little bit different than everyone else. I know a lot of the speakers today are going to talk about like strategies and tools and tips and things like that. I came here to share a little bit more about my story, to just show you guys that, look, I'm no one special. I'm just a normal guy like you. If I can do it, like seriously, in high school, you guys, I graduated with a 1.9 GPA. I was a D+ and C- student. Seriously, like, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but at least I'm in the shed. Like, so if you think about that, you're learning from someone that's academically pretty dumb, So if I can do this, you guys can do it too, And people always ask me, David, what's that one thing? What's that one thing that has helped you become successful? I get that question so much. I can freaking write a book. And here's all I got for you. The key to success is there is none. There seriously is none. You got to work incredibly hard at something that you actually enjoy doing, so that way it's sustainable, right? And then you got to stay humble, you got to stay hungry, and you got to have that hungry immigrant mentality. With that, my name is David Dang Vu. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. See you guys around. See you top.